let's get into MotoGP. I agree with you though on that, and the future looks bright. Speaking of future, Raul Fernandez.
Send me your money.
Who's sending money? I think I was rooting for him all year.
But I said this weekend, go young.
Yeah. Well, that's a broad general statement there, so we'll give you that.
No, I said names. I gave names. I said Acosta, Aldeguer, Fernandez.
Yeah, and I think I agreed with that.
All right.
Those are all names that I believe because and they've been we're not just flipping a coin. We've been seeing their progression over the whole season, and as we said, Bez had his 2-lap penalty. Marcus out, Martinez out. Pecco is struggling. He's the dude disguised as the dude playing the dude. It's tough for him right now, and I feel for him because as races at any level, and I haven't made it to MotoGP yet, so I know what the struggle is like. So it doesn't feel good at any level when you're a competitive person and you have to go through it. And Fernandez was going through it. He struggled, and Smitty and some of these guys said he shouldn't be in MotoGP, and so to see Fernandez take advantage of Bezecchi's misfortunes. What are your thoughts on that? And also just to how pissed is Acosta, because here's another young dude that got a MotoGP win before me.
Well, I mean, first of all, with Acosta, if you keep putting out that energy, these are results you're gonna get. He needs to be more like Pecco, maybe just relaxed and more thoughtful on the positive. Like his past results and how angry he shows is just that's the energy you're gonna get. And I don't care. I mean, Raul definitely been putting in his work. He's definitely a good rider. If I don't see him on a podium again for a while, I mean, I'm still satisfied, because just what Aprilli's been doing this year, it just proves to show that they have the right rider also, where they can still get the results. And it's good to see Trackhouse and the American team finally get a W out there. But it's good to see Raul, stay in front and had the potential to win both races. And put hats off to Bezecchi. That guy rode his ass off. I mean, the fact that he could just show that he's better than everybody out there right now is also a good thing to see. But to see Raul up there was nice.
No doubt. What are your thoughts, Lewis, on how Raul did Dainese? It's a good look either way. Bez is on that as well. And who's number 2 now? Oh, Acosta. He's out. He's the other brand.
The race podium was good. Digia, Fernandez, and Bezecchi all shining in their shiny axial boots.
Exactly.
Probably rounded down to nothing because they wore through the soles.
It's tough. It's tough life. What are your thoughts on Fernandez? This, I can only imagine, like I was saying, like the struggle in anything in life, and to get something like this, and it wasn't. Bez had the the penalties, but who knows, right? Because Raul was riding unbelievable. It's very surprising on one hand to see how he's doing, and because it's one thing to take the lead, it's another thing to finish and win. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I mean, he did an incredible sprint race. So it wasn't just a one-off fluke. Like, he had a really good sprint race, great result in the sprint race, coming in second. And then Bezecchi having those penalties definitely helped him out, but he still had to circle the track 20 plus times at the front of the lead and hold it there. And it's a long way that he's come, because we spoke about it. When he came to MotoGP, he came in with a kind of a little S on his chest, like, I'm the next big thing. stand back. Here comes Raul Fernandez, blah, 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 blah. And then he just, wah, like,
Wah, wah, wah.
just, struggled, couldn't finish the bike, a lot of crashes, couple of injuries, this and that, just couldn't really wrap himself around it. Was out of a job, KTM moved on. He was able to get picked up by Trackhouse, the American team with no Americans. Yay! Anyway,
Yeah. We got a trophy though.
We got a trophy. Maybe they'll let an American hold it at some point. And then this year he started out slow again. This year, like it took him some time to get adapted to the Aprilia. But all this comes back to what we spoke about before. Is this the fact that Bezzecchi's been the leading or guiding light at Aprilia? Because if Martin was the guiding light at Aprilia, how much of the knowledge do you think would trickle down to Bezzecchi and to the other teams?
Right.
Is it because Bezzecchi's in that position and he's a little bit less self-conscious about who he is, that more information is trickling down, the bike's getting developed in a different way? Bezzecchi's riding style is the typical MotoGP riding style. It's not anything unique. Bezzecchi's not dragging shoulder, like Martin does. Like it's a little bit more of that common riding style, not the over extreme riding style. So they built a bike to help Bezzecchi, and it just happens to be that same bike also helps Fernandez.
Yeah.
So overall, I think it's helping Aprilia to build a more well-balanced bike than try to build a bike specifically to try to make Martin look like a superhero.
Yeah. No, I think that you're right. And as we were talking about it earlier, it has to do with Bez. And I don't think that if Martin was healthy, it might have been a different look for Aprilia this year overall, because there's no guarantee that Martin would have been able to develop the bike the way it's been developed. And Bez has been on the record to give Valentino Rossi credit for coming into Aprilia and spending Evelyn to help them sort the bike out. So that's pretty impressive when you're the owner of a Ducati team and, you got this rider that you'll sacrifice information for to help get better. So it might have been different. So Aprilia has, I think the whole Aprilia squad, and I'll throw it to Troy to talk about this a little bit. I think the whole Aprilia squad is different because Martin isn't there, and next year is going to be different because how can he take over that team again? I mean, he never had it because he crashed out. So how can he get it after what Raul has done and Bez has been doing?
I mean, so if you look at it as like NBA players, like Martin's like the superstar that gets you what you really want. You want the regular players that won't complain and get you through and still will want to learn and continue. What I would expect out of Martin if he was part of there is for him and Bez doing exactly what Bez is doing, and for them to, as a manufacturer, be top 5 or top 10 and let it trickle down faster, opposed to like Lewis was saying, developing around Martin and him dragging shoulder and him making him look good, and then lose the direction of where it wants to go. So I think Bez is definitely the perfect example because he's not complaining. He's working hard, and he's showing it. And I really think it has to do with also him being competitive and able to follow Mark for a lot of the time that he was out there with Mark. And I think it showed him a lot and what was needed. And since Martin was around, he's the only one to really get feedback from, and it's all positive. So I think it has a lot to do with everything, and it's definitely a better fit. I think he's probably the number one rider, I would say.
I agree with that. Before we move on, has there been a better 2 long lap penalties than what Bez did?
Yo, my man. He went fast in a long lap than any of us would go in a normal lap. I was actually worried that he was gonna, because if you just clip the line at any point between the entrance and the exit, you got to repeat the whole thing again.
Yeah.
And I guess he practiced multiple times throughout the weekend, doing this as fast as he could. And my man nailed it, man. Like the first long lap, he lost 3 positions.
Yeah.
And the second long lap, he only lost 3 positions and still finished in third.
Right.
I mean, you added approximately 3.5 seconds to your overall lap time, and you still finished third. Like that's impressive, man.
Yeah, and I would even say he lost 3 because he was in first and he fell
by
back
a good amount.
Yeah, he fell back to third and he fell back to 6.
Yep.
So he lost 5 positions.
5 positions, yeah.
So
yeah, he's moving.
What are your thoughts, TJ, on that, man? Pretty impressive.
Like I was saying, like it's good to see Raul win, but like Bezzecchi was just showing that he was just better than everyone out there since we didn't have, all the top riders, minus Pecco when he was doing. But very impressive, to see someone to complete double long lap penalties, let alone just one, and very cleanly. And I give it to the coaches and all that stuff. So they planned that very well, the timing of it. Mm-hmm. I think I forget when you have to complete both of them, but at least the first one, I think you have to complete is it 3?
After 3 laps, you can start.
I thought it was the 5. Yeah.
So they don't count the first lap, but at the end of the first lap, they'll send you the warning to your bike, and then you have 5 laps to complete it.
Yeah.
But once you start the first one, you can start the first one on the 5th lap. You just have to complete the second one before the 6th lap.
Gotcha.
So they trust me, man. I paid real close attention. Like they planned this out to perfection. Get out front. You got 5 laps to try to get as big a lead as you can. Burn through as much tire as you have to. See if you can get it up to close to 2 seconds, which he did. He got it close to like 2-second lead, and then run the first long lap, and then go out, run the lap, and come and run the second long lap. And by that time, the group should be pulled enough apart that you probably end up back in like 7th place, and you can work your way back through.
Yeah,
that's perfect.
Pretty impressive. I brought it up last week, Yamaha. I mean, Quartararo got pole, Jack was up there, I if there was a time to think about getting a tattoo, it might've crossed my mind in quality at the beginning of the races. When you're that fast for 1 lap or a couple of laps or 5 laps, that has to be frustrating, right? Because it's like, 1 lap, I'm better than every bike out here in Phillip Island on a track that we're the slowest. What are your thoughts on Yamaha? I mean, you can't feel bad, but you can't necessarily feel good either, right?
I mean, like it's like, like all these polls all year long has shown absolutely nothing. Like, I feel so bad for
some watches.
I feel bad for Quartararo. Like to start off first and just watch riders go by you every turn where you have to be cautious of how you lean in. It's just disappointing. Like 1 lap doesn't really, it means a lot, but like if you get pole, you have to like at least get top 10 or top 5 at least. Like, and for Jack Miller being home, I mean, he put on a good show for the most part, but it's just that bike, it just didn't have anything. And I don't know if it was the wind, if they weren't ready for it. It's just pretty disappointing just to see what they were actually able to show to get the pole, and then not show anything, absolutely anything for the race. So,
what are your thoughts, Louis?
It wasn't a good look.
Yamaha. I know you still got your R6, so you're not.
I mean, I've mentioned this so many times, man. Yamaha is so good for that 1 flying lap. They just can't. You can't maintain that pace over race distance. It's impossible to do qualifiers every single lap. And the one thing that I will say, there was a couple of times coming down the straight that I thought the Yamaha was going to get swallowed up, and it didn't get swallowed up. The motor was able to, not get beaten. But again, you have to keep this incredible pace that you can't just do you can't go an entire race without making a single mistake. Yeah. Even guys that look like they haven't made a single mistake, they made a ton of mistakes, but they're able to cover them but with Yamaha, you have to race at such a high level to get it to run that if you make that one mistake, you're in the kitty litter. You're in the crash truck, in the ambulance, you're anywhere except on the track finishing. And you can't keep going like that, man. Yamaha's gotta get this V4 to work the right way. And they got to put enough power where these guys don't have to ride out of their skin to try to finish a race in the top 5, in the top 3. I mean, Quartararo can do it. There's no doubt about it. The dude has talent.
Right.
He just needs a bike that can do it lap after lap without him having to, push himself beyond the limits of reason. Right. Jack Miller was doing great. One mistake. That's it.
I know. I mean, he got fourth in the sprint. He showed up and looked good, but it is a tough struggle, and you feel for these riders. Is Alex Rins back? He's looking like he's kind of back.
Sideshow Bob's not back.
He's in the neighborhood. He's circling the neighborhood.
I mean, I would love to see him back at the top because I do. I like him as a rider. I think his riding style is so silky smooth, and he's just he's got this old school type of riding style where his body's not super leaned over. He almost looked like he's in the wrong body position, but he makes it work. So I would like to see him back, but he's kind of at that point in his career where, I see him married, I see him with kids, I see this, I see that. I see him suffering through a lot of injuries, and it's taking longer for him to recover. And, is that father time kind of like, tapping on the door? It was like, look, man, you made your money. You're getting close to the end of this contract. Ride this contract out to the end and, go home.
World Superbike. Let's go.
He would, honestly, man, I think he would do really well in World Superbike because his riding style in World Superbike, I think, would adapt really easily.
Yeah. I think so too. He's not the first rider that's been plagued with injuries and have their career suffer by it, but that's the worst. I mean, it's one thing when you can lay it all out there and somebody's just better than you, but when your body doesn't work, and your mind is sharp. I feel for that dude because out of all these guys, like I said already, in Moto2, he was killing all these guys in Moto2.
Yep. He was definitely schooling them all, man. He was, putting them to task, and just everything he's done, even in MotoGP, man. Thinking about the way he beat people on a Suzuki.
Yeah.
On
a Honda.
Not just beat him, but like embarrassed him, made the Suzuki take corners and everybody else was like, yo, why are you over there? That bike shouldn't be there. And he could still put the bike in places where people would never expect. Like he could squeeze a bike on the inside of a turn in a space big enough for a credit card. Next to you, look, it's Sideshow Bob's next to you. Like, yo, how'd you get in there, man?
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he continues to get better. But again, man, I'm really worried about him being in the twilight of his career, and I don't want to see him get carted away from the sport. I'd rather him leave the sport with his head held high, and he did a lot for the sport. He made an impact. He left his name. He's got his wins and everything else. I don't think on Yamaha he's going to be able to do much because if Quartararo can't do it on a Yamaha, I don't think anybody can on a Yamaha. And even next year when Top Rack comes to Yamaha, it's going to be a rude awakening. You're not on a great bike. And as great as a rider you are, this is the creme de la creme. These are the top 15, 20 best riders in the world. So it's not like you're going to bring something that none of these guys have never seen.
Right. Yeah. No, I agree there. I think people lose sight of that when they see you in 14th and 15th place.
Yeah.